Oh my days. So I'm currently recording this on my Chromebook. The Formula E has been ridiculous. I'm not going to go upstairs and grab the camera. It's just not happening. What a race. If you haven't seen the Mexico City E-Prix, which is how I finished the previous video, but I'm starting this one, go and watch it right now. Go watch the highlights. They'll be up already. This happened a week ago as you're watching this. Oh my God, what a race. It will be on YouTube. Just go and watch it. It is intense. Look at this madness. It is completely crazy right at the end. What was Pascal Wehrlein thinking, just trying to take, oh my days. Just go watch it. The Osmo Pocket has arrived, and wow, it is really teeny. I knew it was small, but I didn't know it was this small. So here's the deal, the Osmo Pocket arrived today and I want to test it compared to my G7. Realistically, this will just be for vlogging. This has things that are way more useful, like interchangeable lenses. However, I want to test the stability versus the G7, so let's go for a bit of a walk and see what they're like to use. I'm using a lapel mic because it's kind of windy outside, and I wanted to use the built-in microphones for both of these just to make it a fair comparison for the video and the audio. So we'll be switching between this, that, and this. It'll all be made clear from the graphics. Let's go for a walk. So both of these cameras are currently set, oh God, there are so many cameras pointed at me. They're both set to full auto apart from shutter speed. Let's go this way actually, so this one's pointing at me. Oh, this one's a lost subject already. Let's try that, there we go. So these cameras are both set to full manual apart from the shutter speed, and they're both on 1/50th of a second, just in case we run into some lighting issues, which should be fine. But we'll see. In theory, the Osmo Pocket would be... Why does it keep losing me? It might be sunglasses. In theory, the Osmo Pocket would be considered superior in a couple of aspects. For example, it does 4K at 60 frames a second, and battery lasts supposedly just over 2 hours. However, in practice, I haven't tried the battery, so I'll have to see how that goes. And even if that is true, we'll have to see the things like the replaceable battery in the G7. I have 5 batteries for this thing, which means I could record for about 10 hours without much issue. On top of that, I've just had to bring down this camera because it's heavy, it is not light. And this thing really isn't liking me in sunglasses. Let me turn on the tracking and see if that helps. Even though in theory the Osmo Pocket does facial tracking, it clearly doesn't work very well when you're wearing sunglasses. But that's fine, I guess. I just switched to manual and it seems okay. The G7 is definitely heavier than the Osmo Pocket. I will say that much. However, the G7 has interchangeable lenses, which means that we can do stuff. And this one in particular is a 14-42 stock lens, which has zoom. Let me demonstrate that. You'll have to bear with. There we go. So if we spin this around, this is actually a fun party trick. So if I triple click, there we go. We can flip it around. You can see the flexibility that we're granted thanks to the fact that with the G7 we have zoom. See, that's just not something we can do. In this case, the G7 takes full-size SD cards, whereas the Osmo Pocket takes micro SD cards, but that's a negligible difference in our use case, and I can imagine myself filling up plenty of cards. The wind is picking up, so I'll see how that sounds. The microphone on this is on the top, whereas on this, it's in the front, so I can imagine there being a little bit more wind shielding. My left arm is definitely more tired than my right now. This is significantly heavier. And you'll notice that this is just so much smoother whenever it's tracking my face. I've turned face track back on. I think I must have accidentally turned it off at some point. Let's go like so. I'm gonna... Let me put you down, hang on. Let's find a place. A camera is more than just the specs list, it's what it does for you in practice. In this case, the G7 is great for in the studio shots because we have tripods and we can mount them to the tripods, and stability and optical image stabilization isn't that much of an issue. In the general wild, being able to walk around with an Osmo Pocket, which is teeny tiny, I can't stress this enough, it is absolutely tiny. The ability to walk around with an Osmo Pocket, which is just smaller in such a way that it means that it can be pocketable, hence it's called the Pocket. In fact, I have the case in my pocket, whereas if I want to take my G7 somewhere, it's a full thing. It's a camera that you have to take with you and can be an inconvenience. On top of that, the flexibility of slow-mo. The Osmo Pocket can take 1080p video at 120 frames a second, something that the G7 just doesn't allow for, which means you can get shots like this. If, however, we do that exact same movement in 1080p 60, which is what the G7 can manage, it looks a little bit like this. Now, part of this is that the terrain isn't perfect. If I turn this camera around, no, that's the recenter button. If I turn this around, you can see that it's grass, it's hilly, it's not flat and great to walk on. And I tried walking at roughly the same speed for both, but you can see this is just so much smoother thanks to the built-in stabilization, but it's really no contest, even at 30 frames a second. And that's why for me, even if the video quality isn't quite as high as this, and even if the sound quality isn't quite as high, and even if using a gimbal means I have to pay full attention to it, and there's no simple way to put in external audio, even through all of this, even through all of those troubles, the Osmo Pocket is one I'll go to for vlogging. Also, if no one else will say it, I will. Having cool camera gear is just fun, like just messing around with random tech. I will never say no to that, even if it's a little bit of a faff while I get used to it, because you know what? I just love tech. Like that's half the point here. Like, tech is just great. Also, I may need to invest in some ND filters because it is really bright out here. I'm actually squinting even though I'm wearing sunglasses. This is actually a little bit ridiculous. Back to the office, or the studio. It's not really a studio, it's like my house. Back to the house. Oh, and also, don't be an idiot like me. Like, take your lunch at a reasonable time as opposed to 3 p.m. like I did today by mistake. Just don't do that, really. So this is my Nokia 105. It is currently almost 4 p.m. It's also 21st of February. Indeed it is. And my phone finally, now that we are 21 days in, needs charging. So I'm gonna go do that because the thing needs to charge. 21 days, that is not half bad. So I'm about to go for dinner to meet up with my dad. My dad isn't aware of what this looks like yet. This is, of course, the Osmo Pocket. So I'm going to bring it with me. I'm going to see if he realizes and see what he thinks of the size. So let's do a vlog, which is the first time I'm using this properly. It just dawned on me, you haven't had your weekly dose of my phone in silicon. So here's one. And here's the other. Wait a second, let me just do this. Here they both are. As I haven't been in the office yet, they're obviously both still here, still in silicon. I don't think it's cracked. Like, upon further inspection, I think it's fine, because this feels cracked as well. I think it's where, because halfway through I had to flip the phone over, I think it hasn't cured, like it didn't get in under the phone, under the screen very well. So you can see sort of there's a split in the silicon here, and there's a split in the silicon on one of these corners, like just here. So I think the phone itself is fine. I think both phones are okay, which is good. However, right now, it's time to go meet my dad and surprise him with my Osmo Pocket. Well, he knows I have it, so that isn't a surprise. It's just how small the Osmo Pocket really is. And honestly, the stability is incredible. This lighting, however, isn't very good.
Cool, man.
Like hit a button and now we're vlogging all of a sudden. Are you recording?
Yeah.
So that all happened a couple of days ago. It just dawned on me now that I failed to make a half reasonable finish, a conclusion to that whole situation. Having reviewed all that footage whilst editing it, what I will say is the footage from the Osmo Pocket is incredible. It is so stable. The audio isn't great, but it's not terrible. It's definitely passable, especially if I'm wearing a lapel mic most of the time. And that's it. It is honestly, I've been loving filming with this. It is great fun. It's tiny, it's pocketable, and video quality is amazing. For right now, however, that has been the vlog for this week. It's been what I've been up to, really, just messing around with my Osmo Pocket and doing work from home. Next week, we should have some fun stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that. And then also, there may be something planned secretly in a couple of weeks, so stick around for that. Subscribe to watch the vlogs because they're epic, and then make sure you go to snpy.tech/smartphoneless to donate, because it's been 3 weeks now, and hang on, I've got the phone in my pocket. I've been 24 days now, because it's just past midnight, smartphoneless. I'm filming this on Sunday now, I guess. It's intense, it's great, and you should follow along, because there's a lot happening. Oh man, see you guys next week.